Hey guys, Ranchin here, but you want another StarCraft commentary. It's going to be set 3 between STX Soul and Air Force Ace. We're going to have nOtiCe, the Terran player for Soul, and we're going to have AnyTime, the Protoss player for Air Force Ace. AnyTime, an old solid guy, used to be the ace player of Lake F Oz way back when it used to be Lake F Oz. And nOtiCe is sort of an up-and-coming Terran for STX Soul, has been showing some promising stuff, and we'll see how he does against AnyTime here in what could be a very interesting matchup. 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, AnyTime is a player past his prime, but has been doing pretty decent things at Air Force Ace, and it has kind of become their ace, you could say, really, one of their more solid players. So this is destination. We're going to have nOtiCe as the yellow Terran at 11 o'clock, and we're going to have AnyTime as the orange Protoss at 5 o'clock. It's going to be a little bit confusing on the minimap, but other than that, you have different races, so that's not too bad. Should be able to spot just fine. But yeah, AnyTime is an OSL winner back in 2005, I believe. Is past his prime, as I've said before, but still has winning percentages in all of his matchups. TVT lately for him hasn't been too great, while on the opposite side, nOtiCe's TVP is his worst matchup, so this is pretty even in that regard, I must say. And nOtiCe hasn't really broken out. He has shown some promising stuff, particularly in the TVT area. So we're going to see how he manages here against AnyTime. AnyTime, despite the fact that the guy is not where he used to be at one point, he's still a experienced player. He has game knowledge, you know, as all players do, but he really has the experience edge on nOtiCe here. And nOtiCe a fairly new player, while AnyTime has been around for quite a while. I know that way back when Lake Half missed AnyTime a lot, having lost him to the military. He didn't really stop playing very much for him. I don't know. Really stopped playing for them in 2008, you could say. I think he still played for him quite a bit in 2007. Correct me on that if I'm wrong, but lately he hasn't been playing much. So, but I really love watching ace players play just to see how these old veterans do. So yeah, on to the game. nOtiCe is going to be blocking off his ramp, putting down that barracks alongside. That supply depot is going to be putting down a second supply depot. And AnyTime actually scouting rather late, so nOtiCe might actually be able to put down the second supply depot to completely deny the scout. The barracks is at least over halfway up. He might actually be able to build that with that one CV on the opposite side. AnyTime going for gateway and a simulator, which is going to plop down AnyTime now. We're going to see whether he decides to go for 10-15 gate or what. Getting the cybernetics core down now. Probably, I think he might actually be going for tech rather than that. We're going to see he might actually decide to put in some early pressure on nOtiCe, try to pressure him inside his base. He's going to need some Dragoons if he's thinking of possibly walling this in. But yeah, the supply depot is being built here, and the probe not in a position. Okay, he is actually in a little bit of position to harass that SCV there, but I think the SCV is going to run to a different position to keep building there. So he's going to be safe from the probe harassment. The probe is actually not going to be able to get inside, so no scouting. And on the opposite side, nOtiCe does get the SCV inside. Zealot doesn't come in place in time for that. Is going to go in there, spot the cybernetics core. It's not spinning though, so still could be anything. First Marine also out, as well as the factory. Plenty of gas being mined, so he's still just getting the factory. Might actually go for an aggressive push rather than an expansion build. Probe still trying to get through, but I don't think it's going to manage. The Marine is out. Cybernetics core is spinning, so there are going to be some Dragoons running out. I still don't see the second gateway. Probably going to go for a Reaver tech. And that probe is now going to be finally pushed away by that Marine, so no scout. And this will definitely force AnyTime to go for quick observatory to try to get that scout out there. First Zealot is now up, but the Marine is going to be able to maneuver around and not going to allow that scout. I think there might be actually a little bit of a space for units to move through. I'm not quite sure. I think actually only Marines can move through. I'm not sure if enemy scouts can do it. And apparently nOtiCe actually hiding an SCV at this 9 to 10 o'clock position, putting down a starport and hiding something at the location. So he might be going for something cheesy. I'm not quite sure if he built there or not. I think he might have built a starport inside of his own base, so he might be actually going for a good job. Yeah, I think he did indeed build a starport inside of his own base. AnyTime walking around with a probe thinking of something cheesy, and that CV scout still flying around there. A supply depot actually being built far to the left of the base there by nOtiCe, most likely to spot any incoming forces flying in. Still some Marines being built, and that one factory just sitting there with a machine shop. On the opposite side, AnyTime actually going for Citadel of a Dune, has the robotics facilities, so he's going for a very quick Citadel of a Dune. Actually, might be thinking of a Dark Templar build here. SCV going to try to get by, but no, Dragoons are in place. The SCV is not going to be able to scout this, not going to go by. Dragoons kill it. Still more Dragoons being produced. A second gateway coming up alongside. We're going to see whether Templar Archives pops down soon, and if it does, it is indeed going to be a Dark Templar drop. Tanks being built on the opposite side. There is still that very early start, but this tells me that notice Mike actually going for a very interesting drop here. He has tanks to build. I'm not sure yet. He is researching something. I'm not quite sure what that is. Might be mines, might be siege mode for those tanks. On the opposite side, AnyTime is actually putting on some pressure with those Dragoons. Yeah, there it goes. Templar Archives are now up, so it is going to be a Dark Templar drop. He's decided to forego any sort of scouting. Doesn't have any sort of scouting. Now actually going to push in with one Zealot and those Dragoons that can actually push in, but siege mode is ready for the tanks, and that is going to push back. AnyTime is not going to put on any sort of pressure. Those not mines, and Vultures also not being produced. So notice probably going to have a drop ship out very soon to be able to drop on AnyTime's base, and AnyTime should be having some Dark Templar at the opposite side. And we'll see just which player drops first and does some economic damage first. Engineering Bay is being built. That first dropship is now going to load up two Vultures, alongside the tank. So he is going to go for some economic damage. I'm not quite sure if AnyTime is going to be able to spot this. All just going to come down to where he puts some buildings. Has put a pylon at the 3 o'clock location, possibly to spot that possible incoming dropship. Has a Dragoon there at the left side as well. We're going to see if he makes it stay there or not. AnyTime also now thinking of putting down an expansion. I think notice actually think of the same thing opposite side. First, a Templar. Now I'm not quite sure if that was 1 or 2. Also picks up a Zealot there. So both players actually going to go for drops and actually try to drop and do some economic damage. All coming down to who managed to do what. Turrets being built by Notice though. So he has detection to take out. Also has no tanks potential. I think AnyTime has to be immensely careful with how he drops this because it could be very dangerous. But now Tank and Vulture is going to be able, and he's actually thinking apparently of dropping on the natural, but there is no natural way to drop on. So you might have been thinking, yeah, he is indeed going to siege on the natural, but there's really no base there. So nothing really to harass. On the opposite side, AnyTime is going to go, is going to drop, is going to be able to drop one Dark Temple, but I think that Dark Temple, takes down the turret before it was being built. And the Dark Temple actually, instead of Notice's base, Notice on the opposite side haven't been really doing too much there. SV is being pulled off the line. There is a Zealot alongside those two Dark Templar. Just SCV is trying to build something, but there are two Dark Templar inside the SCV line. Some of the SCVs being pulled off the line towards the other turret there, and the tank trying to reposition, but mines also not being put down, but the mines managed to be taken out by the Dark Templar before they really get up, and AnyTime doing a wonderful harassment there. SCVs against me pulled on, just sticking to the far left where the tank actually goes down on the opposite side. AnyTime is probably going to get that base harassed because there is that one single tank there, but actually a Dark Templar walking into that position, and the tank is going to go down because there's no detection, no scans. Tank managed to take out one single Dragoon before he gets taken out by the Tank Templar. Now the CC has been floated up. No mining for Notice. He's trying to is building a command center that's going to put at his expansion. Probably going to be able to build some turrets there to make sure the Dark Templar don't actually walk to the position. But horrible position here for him. He's actually going to drop some Vultures behind the probe line, but instantly going to notice that Dragoon's in that position, so he decides to forego that. Is actually Notice finally again puts down that command center, but it's still Dark Templar there in position, and they should be able to really do a lot of damage. Mines not doing too much. Still Dark Templar sitting there, and the CV is just distance mining towards that CC now. Just horrible position for Notice at this point. Lost so much mining. It's actually going to lose his refinery as well. Again, trying to build a turret. Actually, one of the Dark Templar goes down. Second Dark Templar also finally goes down to the mines. But a third Dark Templar actually moving into position. But there is a Marine and a CV repairing that turret. Dark Templar should no, that turret is actually not going to be able to take out the turret. It's going to run back just before it dies. Again, going to try to go for it. Instantly goes down though. Even more Dark Templars alongside, more ground forces going in for AnyTime. So AnyTime really pushing. Also now has fully established his natural expansion, also putting down photon cannons in defensive positions. While on the opposite side, Notice has not yet put down his natural expansion because their Dark Templar are sitting there. Mines going down, but Dragoons in position to really take it out. Mine going up, nope, gets exploded by those Dragoons before they manage to do anything. Notice again has blocked off the way into his main, but there are Dark Templar and Dragoon knocking on the door there. No tanks to help defend. So I think Notice in a horrible position. AnyTime actually thinking of double expanding, adding even more cannons to prevent any sort of cannon harassment, is continuing pushing down. But I think Notice actually might be able to drop something before that cannon comes up. Yeah, he actually does mention to do that, but I don't think a lot of damage is going to be done because that cannon almost in placement. The opposite side, AnyTime has broken through. Notice now in a considerable trouble, and he GG's. AnyTime with a wonderful game manages to take this game out. So this is going to be 2-1 lead for Air Force 8. Now going to be set for coming towards you guys soon. GG guys, hope you enjoyed listening to this. Ranshin out.